Damn good question to ask, right? Well, here's the thing. Tomorrow, March 24th, from 5:30 to 6:30 is going to be one of those call-in town halls that Congressman Pat Ryan does. So the phone number to call at 5:30 is going to be 833-980-3644. That's tomorrow, Tuesday, March 24th at 5:30 p.m. 833-980-3644 to call into Congressman Pat Ryan's town hall. Now, we've tried in the past to get people to call in. We had dozens of people call in the last time he did this about South Women Grove. And of course, the congressman's people did not select any questions concerning South Women Grove because ever since Among the Records that's been covering the tight relationship between Joel Stern, Isaac Eckstein, and Pat Ryan, there's been no comment from Pat Ryan's office on anything. The fake election, nothing. The skipped elections, nothing. The municipal water infrastructure crisis, nothing. The hydrogen sulfide problem in the village of Monroe that's caused by the village of South Women Grove, nothing. So we had people call in last time and they ignored all of us. But this time, I think if we all call in and we talk about one federal thing, you might actually get an answer, and it's something that you should probably hear. So again, I'm going to give you the information one more time, then I'm going to talk real quick about the constitutional amendment, and then I'm going to shut down. So tomorrow, Tuesday, March 24th, 5:30 to 6:30, if you live in New York 18, New York's 18th congressional district, that's Congressman Pat Ryan. 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, March 24th. You're going to call the number 833-980 3644 starting at 5:30, and again it's 833-980-3644. Now you're just going to ask very simply, if you do get through, you're going to say, why doesn't Congressman Pat Ryan support a constitutional amendment overturning Citizens United? I know that's a mouthful, but it's an important question. Like this is that's the way you want to ask it, is why doesn't he support the constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United? And the reason why Citizens United matters to you, if you live in, like, let's say Woodbury, you just saw State Senator Skoufis spend over $20,000 supporting a far right MAGA bigot named Brandon Glory, and he was able to do that, Skoufis, through what was called an Independent Expenditure Committee, which is basically like the New York version of a super PAC. So Citizens United was the tail end of about 200 years of basically giving liberty rights to corporations. And what that means is like treating the corporation as a person, saying that the corporation has the right to speech, and then saying that the corporation has right to speech in the form of money that it can give to corporations. So in 2024, when we saw over $250 million spent by Elon Musk to support current President Trump, that's what Citizens United allowed. Congressman Pat Ryan has talked a whole lot of shit about being like a trust buster and it being against the big corporations and how tough he is on them. This is the test of that, because if he does not support a constitutional amendment overturning Citizens United, you could say he's full of shit. Overturning Citizens United, yes, I know it's hard to do a constitutional amendment, but it can be done. Remember, this country did prohibition and then quickly rolled back prohibition. So we can amend the Constitution and we can do it way faster than anyone thinks. We can do nice things. You just have to raise your expectations. And we as Americans need to start raising our expectations. And so if Congressman Pat Ryan does not support a constitutional amendment overturning Citizens United, you can say he's full of shit. He's not going to do anything to the corporations. And all of this matters, all of this, because there's going to come a time where the regime is out and MAGA is dead, and it'll mutate into like some crazed Nazi strain of white supremacists with a new cool name, I'm sure. There will be a day when everything that we're dealing with right now will be passed, and there's going to come a time where we look at each other and say, how do we make sure this never happens again? And there's a longer answer to that, which is the Second Bill of Rights. I don't have time today to talk to you about the Second Bill of Rights, but I can tell you about one item in it. And the one item is overturning Citizens United, because if we can get private money out of our elections, you can take your country back from the rich oligarchs. It's as simple as that. And the oligarchs are the ones that fund the fascists in the first place. So if you want to get big money out of politics, whether it's in the village of Woodbury, where a state senator spent $20,000 supporting the Democratic state senator spent $20,000 supporting a far right MAGA bigot, to the state where the big tech companies clearly control Kathy Hochul's agenda, all the way up to the national level where you've got people like Elon Musk spending hundreds of millions of dollars to influence our elections. If you want to stop that, you have to overturn Citizens United. More explicitly, you have to get all the private money out of public elections. Like it really, if there was a constitutional amendment, should really say that private money of elections is forbidden. But we'll get there. That's a longer conversation. So again, if you live in excuse me, if you live in Pat Ryan's congressional district, which is New York 18, I'm encouraging you to call and put his feet to the fire, because even though he's running against who no one knows, like, but it's probably gonna be some like crazed MAGA freak, right? He's basically gonna run against nobody. And so it's important that you still hold people accountable, even if nobody's running against them. And I know some people say, the big fight is Lawler and we should all be focusing on Lawler. And yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And yes, that is something Mother Gazette's definitely going to be covering more, because we should be concerned with what happens over in Rockland County with Mike Lawler, because that could determine who controls the House. But that does not mean you let Pat Ryan off the hook. We can walk and chew gum at the same time, my friends. So that's all I got for today. Again, this is not a real record store, as you can see in my hand blurring. Woo! It's not real. I wish it was. That was a frequently asked question that we got. And if you look at the transcript, there's going to be typos and errors and things like that. It's generated from an AI. If I had the time, I would stop and edit, but right now I have to finish my book. So I don't really have time to do that. So I please forgive me if there's typos and errors in the transcript. I do try to catch like the egregious ones. I don't catch them all, obviously. So I'm going to be a little quiet this week because I need to finish the book. If something crazy happens, you will hear from me. But if not, hold on to your ass.